Hi, I'm Mr. Brussman here at Coon Rapids High School. What we're doing today is going through doing a little bit of review on the machines before we actually get started here, and we have some problems also for students that were gone, missed part of the demonstration of that. This will also help. This is also kind of talking a little bit about the project that we're starting out with as we go through some of the different videos here. So this is the radial arm saw. We have a safety margin of 4 inches, meaning you keep your hands at least 4 inches away. Minimum board length to cut is 6 inches, meaning you got 2 inches to hang onto the board. Workpiece should be on the left side here. I will place my right hand on the handle when I go to turn it on. Okay. When I turn it off, I turn it off with my left, or with the type of switch that we have, I can use my thigh to gently turn it off as well. Now, we have a long board here that we are needing to use for our first piece. This end here has already been cut, so this end has been squared up already. This end here, as you can see, is a rough end painted. So let's say we had a board that had both ends painted rough end, and one of the first things that we need to do is square up that edge. Okay? We have a jointed edge here, pre-sawn edge, which is nice and straight. So we want to put the straight edge up against the fence so that as we're cutting, the board doesn't turn, and want to pull our hand in towards the blade and kick the saw and so forth. Okay? So one of the mistakes that we have seen is students wanting to place the board like this and hold on, and they're wanting to try to hold on to the end because the left hand is supposed to be the hand that is holding onto the board. Okay? Well, the problem with doing it this way is we have very little material on the left side, which is where the workpiece is supposed to be. In this case, when I am trying to cut just a small amount off the end, the whole board is that workpiece. So the whole board should be on this side. I can now hold on to it. Being that I do have a lot of material hanging off the table, it is best to have a helper help hold that long end so that it doesn't tip up and into the saw blade. Right? Now we already have this end cut. Right? So I am going to need to mark it for my 15.5 inch on this. Okay? And if I simply take, I'm using a pen here rather than a pencil, but it will work. I'm left-handed, so if I place the tape measure in my right hand and pull from the left, using my left hand to mark, I want to have the edge that is going up against the fence away from me. And I can simply make my mark at my 15.5, which I need for this first project here. And that will allow my mark to be up against the fence where I need it as I'm lining up the machine, pulling it forward to use it. If I am right-handed, all right, to use the same mark, all right, I want to have the tape measure in my left, and I want to have the edge that is going up against the fence towards me. All right, so here I'm trying to do it like the right-handed, a little bit of ambidextrous here. Okay, and I can use the same mark. You can see that I have the same mark right here that I already had, and it will work. And when I go to flip it around and put that edge to the fence, I actually have my workpiece on my left side like I need it. All right? All right. So we're going to go ahead and make this cut, and my assistant here is going to help hold the long end for me. Okay, let's go that way around. Okay, so he's going to help hold the long end for me. I'm going to kind of eyeball it here. We'll get our safety glasses down. Okay, put my hand on it. I will go ahead, turn it on. It's all underneath. I can kind of line it up. Now, I turned it off here, and I'm pulling it out. Hopefully you can see that the point that I get cut completely through, if you look on the blade guard, there is a notch, and that notch represents the lowest point of the blade, which is basically the point at which it has completely cut through the saw. You bring that notch to the edge of the board, and that's all the further I need to pull the saw out. Pulling it out further exposes the back of the blade, which wants to lift the material and makes the operation more dangerous. Okay? So we bring it out so that the notch is at the edge of the board. If we have large pieces, we can carefully push the saw back and shut it down. Small pieces, make sure you shut it down before you push it back and bring it to a complete stop. Okay? Now, I have my board to a rough cut 15-inch or 15.5-inch length, ready for the joiner and table saw operation here. Okay? Again, right hand on the handle, left hand turns it off, left hand, thumb tucked underneath, holding the board, palm up against the board, pushing against the fence. If you can, wrap your fingers around the back, at least 4 inches away from the blade. Being greater than 4 inches is better. 6-inch minimum length. Okay, must have a jointed edge up against the fence. Okay. All right, and that's the basics that we have here. More is discussed in class. We do not cut round wood. We do not. We can cut through hole knots, loose knots we want to make sure that we remove. We do not remove the guard for any operation. If there's any special setups with the machine, you need to check with the instructor. Okay? And by the way, this machine is wanting to force the wood down against the table and back against the fence. In the method that we're using it, meaning that the saw wants to climb up on top and it wants to feed itself. Therefore, we need to make sure that we have a relatively stiff arm and a slow rate of feed so that the saw does not get away from us and we are in total control. Any further questions, please ask your instructor to get those answered, and be safe.